Welcome back, guys. Well, I wanted to tell you this story about what happened to me this morning. So I had to meet this cameraman who was taking some pictures, and so I'm asking him questions. I'm like, how'd you get into this? Do you like what you're doing? And he looked at me and he was like, you got a lot of questions, don't you? And I was like, of course I do, Jeremy. How did we end up here? A million places to be. I could be in a million places. You could be in a million different places. How is it, of all the places to be, at all the moments of time, that we end up in this place here? You know, it's just data collection. Like, you never know what you're going to learn about someone or that moment in time. And it was so beautiful. It just made me laugh because, of course, I'm curious. I'm a scientist of life. Mitochondria are detectives, you know, and it makes me think of Alzheimer's dementia, right? Because what is the capacity to memorize things, to store information, to make connections with things is part of our memory center in the brain. And also, I think a lot about the power of reflection because, you know, a lot of the times they talk about rumination, being involved in depression is just this going back of information, being stuck in the past or whatever. But what a scientist does is it is able to take a whole bunch of information, moving parts, to sit with it and digest it. It's kind of like holding food in your mouth and tasting all the sensations and getting a feel for it. And, like, you know, instead of just shoveling it all down, you're just shoving information in. You take a minute, you sit with it, you digest it, and then you make the connections. And Carl Jung, he talks about synchronicities in life. He talks about moments of this deep connection, making connections in place. You can't make connections with things if you have no working memory, if you're never still enough to seep into the moment and to be present. And so that was just like a sweet moment. And, you know, I wish Jeremy, the cameraman, I wish him the best of luck in his life. He did such a great job. I kept telling him, I was like, Jeremy, you're doing a great job. And he would be laughing. And you know, that's just it. You're right where you're meant to be, because where else would you be at that exact time? It doesn't always feel like it. We're in the exact same place where we're supposed to be. Sometimes it feels like, how did I get here? How did I manifest these certain situations? And I was thinking a lot about, I didn't even read a new chapter in A Course in Miracles today, because I was thinking about still the other one from yesterday, setting the goal. And it says, well, I read and I get a sense of the nervous system within this book. It talks about we're either in the ego or we're in a state of peace. The ego would be tension in the body, dehydration, fatigue, exhaustion. And then when we're in light, we're in this place of grounded, calm, confidence, clear, focused, inspired, inspiration, or we're in fatigue. So in the passage, I kept going back to it this morning. It says, the ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. It is aware of what it does not want, but only that. It has no positive goal at all. So I want to ask you, are you entering into right relationship with everything that you're doing? Is your goal to be set for peace? Let your mitochondria lead you. Your mitochondria will never let you stray. If you decide that your goal is set for truth, anything that you come into a relationship that doesn't bring that for you, even if it's like, it could be exercise, right? Because exercise is good for us, just like tryptophan is good for us, that amino acid, but it can break down into a different pathway related to disease states. If I over-exercise, it could lead me into a disease state. So what is my relationship to the things that I'm doing? Does it leave me in a state of peace that says that's how we ended up getting here? It says, without a clear-cut positive goal at the outset, set at the outset, the situation just seems to happen. It makes no sense until it has already happened. And when you look back at it, you try to piece together what it must have meant, but you will be wrong. Not only is your judgment in the past, but you have no idea what should happen. No goal was set with which to bring the means in line, and now the only judgment left to make is whether or not the ego likes it. Is it acceptable, or does it call for vengeance? And that is what it means to be confused. It means, like, if you decide for peace, you decide to stick with your mitochondria, let them lead you, you won't be confused in situations, right? Because your mitochondria are clear in what provides the body energy. And if we just take a minute to relax, we can take in all the information, all the data. Like if you just ask your intelligent body, the body is so intelligent, innate intelligence, universal intelligence, quantum physics. The body will tell you exactly what it wants. I know I should work out. Is working out what I need right now? Or should I rest? Or should I go do my laundry? Or should I clip my toenails? And then the body responds with an answer. It's so beautiful. That's what they talk about with prayers. You just sit and you allow the quantum field to speak through you, allow the consciousness to come through you, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to be. Even with relationships with people, oftentimes we get into relationships for the wrong reasons, and it's so easy to do that. You know, we feel lonely, and the ego is aware of what it does not want. So a lot of time people get into relationships with other people just because they don't want to be alone. But that's how we get led astray, because we're afraid to be on our own, and we're never on our own. You always have a higher version of yourself. There's always this energetic presence that is there waiting for you to just be open to it and to feel it, and save you a lot of heartbreak, save you a lot of confusion. You know, the mitochondria, the body, so clear, so intelligent, the light, so clear, so intelligent. And if you feel in chaos, if you feel confused, the book says simply, what have I chosen? I've chosen my ego. If I feel frustrated and fatigued, I have chosen my ego. I've chosen to build my castle on sand rather than on rock. And you know, just like building muscle in the body, going to the gym, a lot of people end up with injuries because those smaller muscle groups, the body is filled with so many muscles. You just look at the back muscle alone, that's a good example. But these smaller intrinsic muscles, we just go towards the heaviest weight, the highest reps. If I don't feel burnt out like a dog, and if I'm not shaking when I leave the gym, then I didn't have a good workout. It's not the case. You want to build a sturdy foundation especially when you're lifting weights. You want to take your time, feel into what that tension feels like, relax into it. And if you can't relax into that weight while you are lifting and engaging with it, then it might be too much, because really you want to train the nervous system, not just the muscles. And you want to go deeper. How can I go deeper? I want to communicate with my mitochondria. I want to feel free. I want to feel at peace. I want to expand my recovery afterwards. So that's all I got to say for today. Again, this was my favorite book, and I hope you get the chance to read it if you feel called to it. It's called A Foundation for Inner Peace, A Course in Miracles. It's trying to essentially line you up with a life full of synchronicities, like Carl Jung talks about, where you can see the beauty instead of just seeing the fatigue and the stress. We see the joy, we see the creation, we see the miracles. So if it doesn't feel like you're close to a miracle, just know that it's right where you feel like you're gonna break. That's where the miracle is. So anyway, I wish you the best of luck, and I will catch you later.